All right. So, Mr. Lindsey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm excited to be speaking to you. All right. So,
Very
I've been following Mr. Lindsey and his lovely wife Heather since I think it was since 2017. All right.
wow.
I'm one of those people who is like Heather's best friend, but she just doesn't know I exist, right? All right, so I'm so happy to have you here today. All right, so Mr. Cornelius Lindsey, he's a husband to a beautiful woman called Heather. I just mentioned her name, and he's also a father of three lovely little children. He's a businessman, he's an author, and I've never heard him refer to himself as a life coach, but that you are. I think that there's nobody who could be following you and not being coached. All right, about life, and he was also a pastor. Okay, so it's really great to have you here today. And, he authored several books. How many are they?
I have 14 books.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right. Well, one of them in particular I would like us to talk about today is suffering in silence. So, first of
Yeah.
all, Mr. Lindsey, how are you doing today?
I am, today is a good day. It's kind of rainy here in Atlanta, but, it's a good day. I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, but I'm really doing good today.
All right, all right. Well, I want us to talk about depression among men, all right? Because as I was saying before, this is not something that we normally talk about. We only talk about depression among women, and we talk about that because, as women, it's okay for us to talk about our feelings. Now, I don't know
Yeah.
about where you come from in the US, but I know that here in the Caribbean where we are, well, first of all, let me just explain this to you. All right, Guyana is in South America, but culturally and to an extent politically, we are a part of the Caribbean. Because we had the same colonizers and so forth. All right, so
Right.
where we're from, I remember, I remember when a little child, like let's say a little boy child, somebody takes his toy car and he starts to cry. One of the parents would say, "What are you crying for? Are you a little girl?" So we have grown men right now who are carrying years and years of pain. They're like 30 something and they're carrying probably about 20 something years of pain because we have not encouraged them to discuss their feelings. All right. Whereas
Right.
it's okay for a female. So when we're talking about depression, please tell us what depression is. Is depression just sad feelings?
No, it's not. Depression, it's a host of things, Um, the way that I typically like to explain it to people when I talk about depression, like that I felt in my life, it is the pressure that is within that is trying to find a way to get out. It's like it's almost like if a pipe was clogged, is going to if it continues to try whatever the pressure is, whatever that water or air is trying to get out, pretty soon if it doesn't get out, then that it's gonna accumulate pressure. Then that pressure at a certain point, once it accumulates a lot of it, is going to explode. And typically, we hear about men, being angry, being upset, throwing things, punching stuff, shooting people. Like, we express ourselves outwardly because we don't know another way to really relieve the pressure that we have within. And like you said, we're told not to cry. We're told, only girls talk about their feelings. It makes
Mm-hmm.
us feel we don't have feelings, makes us feel as though we don't have emotions. A lot of men I found, because I think in our youth, because we don't have environments where we can really express or communicate our feelings, we don't know how to really put the words together when we're asked how we feel when we're adults. So we get into relationships, like married men out there. You get a wife, and she'll say to her husband, she'll say, "I wish you would just tell me how you feel." Well,
Mm-hmm.
what she doesn't understand is that he does not have the language to communicate how
Wow.
he feels, because it's not something that he's practiced. So all you hear is this, all you get is this silence, because that's all he has been taught to have in the environment that he grew up in. So it's deep, but that depression is pressure that's trying to get
I've
out.
never heard anybody express it like that.
Absolutely.
Wow, wow.
Absolutely.
I really did not know that. This is like a shocker to me. I did not know that the men just don't have the language because I guess because that's not how we train them. All right. And
Yeah,
yes. And so does this go across the board for men? I know that this is true for Caribbean men, but does this go across the board for, let's say, men in North America? Do you think that many men are suffering from this particular this particular issue where we've been cutting them off from expressing their feelings since they were younger, and then when they get older, sometimes they're depressed, but we have no idea.
absolutely. I have, I've had the wonderful opportunity to travel in the world. I've been in Africa multiple times, Asia, United Kingdom, Europe, all these different places. And one thing that I find is that no matter where these men are, the environment is typically the same.
So,
They're bringing
so
up
wait. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there, Mr. Lindsay. Or let me say
uh,
Cornelius. All right. So, are
yeah.
you when you said that regardless of where you go, it's pretty much the same. So you're
Uh,
saying that even men of the cloth, even religious men, go through the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
I was a pastor for 8 years, and my recent episode was December 2019 when my beautiful wife and my youngest son, who was one, I believe at the time, was asleep in the middle. My wife was asleep on one side of the bed. My son was in the middle of us, and I sat on the side of my bed and I took the Glock out of the nightstand. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was going to end it all. I was crying, and I just didn't feel like there was no other way of escape. I felt like maybe death was the best option, and it wasn't like my wife and I, we were doing well. I mean, I have three beautiful children. We do well financially. We were doing well at the church. Everything seemed to be going right. It's just that within, I was in turmoil. I was
Yes.
hurting, and I had pain. I lacked vulnerability. To be honest, I didn't have any true friendships because the friendships that I did have didn't really have depth. They were very shallow. They were very transactional. And so you add a lot of that along with the responsibility of being a husband, the responsibility of being a father, the responsibility of being a pastor, the responsibility of being a business owner, because my wife and I, we have multiple businesses. So, dealing with employees, dealing with taxes, dealing with all this kind of stuff, it was a lot. And I didn't know another way of escape but that. My daughter's bedroom is right across the hallway from mine. And that night, I sat on the side of my bed, or that early morning, I saw a silhouette. It was like a shadowy figure, and it's my daughter walking across to our room. She's rubbing her eyes, and I said, "Taylor," and she looked, and she was like, "Daddy, I love you." And I mean, I'm still crying, and she comes over to me, and she says, "Daddy, can I sleep with you?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Hold on one second." I put the gun away, put the safety back in, and close it up. And then, my daughter comes and she lays in the bed with me, and I cried myself to sleep that night. Um, but I mean, after that, I started going to therapy and stuff like that. But I was a pastor,
Yes.
and what people don't realize is that most times, because pastors, they pour everything they got out of them on Sunday mornings, or at least many of them, they pour everything they got out of them. And so on Mondays is the most depressive day for most spiritual leaders,
And
and they're depressed.
and isn't that common for lots of men? Because you know what, there's some people who think that, oh, they're bad men. Yes, there are a couple bad men, all right, but they're the exception. They're not the rule. There are many good men who are good fathers. They are good
Yep,
in terms of taking care of their elderly parents. They're good in terms of looking out for everybody else. All right. And so don't you think a lot of men are going through this same thing? It's like they're looking after everybody else, but then nobody knows what they're going through on the inside, about the pressures that they're feeling.
absolutely. I call it the superhero complex.
Yes.
It is the complex that says, okay, you got to be strong, because when little boys are coming up, we're teaching them early to be, you gotta be the head of the
Mm-hmm.
household. You gotta be strong. You gotta help out mama. You gotta help take care of the kids. And in many ways, you rob that boy of his opportunity to just be a boy. And when you rob him of that opportunity, you rob him of adventure, because that's what a lot of boys crave. They crave adventure. And when you rob them of that, then they grow up thinking that life is only about achievement, that life
Mm-hmm.
is only responsibility. So I got into achievement. That's the reason why I self-published 14 books in 6.5 years. And because I was all about achievement, because I was trying to figure out, can somebody just love me? and maybe I'm only loved when I achieve.
Yes.
Uh, so yeah, it's very much true. It is true across the board, and unless and until we start to change in our society and start looking at our men and say, okay, you have feelings, you have emotions. Let's teach you how to express them in the right way. Go and see a therapist. Start working out again. Go and seek adventure. Until we start doing these practical things and tell them to do these practical things, unfortunately, we're just going to find ourselves in this hole all over again, and it's not going to be good for us.
And as you're talking, I remember a male friend saying to me, he said, Melissa, I was complimented when I was married. He said, but it was always when I did something good, like okay, like let's say for example, I paid off your student loan. Well, oh my, well then he's gonna hear I'm the best, or if he paid for trips to go to XYZ place, well then he would hear he's the best. But him just going to work and coming home, going to work and coming home, doing the regular providing and so on, he wouldn't hear that he is the best. And so,
Yeah.
yes, so I think that I could understand what you're saying to a certain extent. I may not be able and not really receiving in return.
I think it was both of them. Was It was the fact that I did not deal with a lot of the trauma from my youth. I was bullied as a kid. I was the fat kid. I was called Butterball. I wore a red shirt to school one time, and I was called Kool-Aid Man.
Wow.
Because they called me Titty Boy. I was ridiculed as a child, so I kind of went through that, and then I kind of went towards achievement. So my life was all about achieving. The only problem is you can never achieve enough to finally be satisfied,
Yes.
because there's always more. There's somebody going to have a better car than yours, better house than yours. They're going to dress better than you do. So there's always going to be more. So I never found a place of contentment because I didn't believe that contentment existed. And then, once the higher you achieve, the more responsibility you get. So now I'm achieving and I have a lot of responsibility. And you got to think I have a lot of responsibility at a young age. I got married when I was 23 years old. I started our church when I was 26 years old. So I had my son when I was 26 years old. So it was like I was doing a lot when I was young, and then now, with all this responsibility, everything just started being bottled up. On top of that, I didn't really know who I was because I was always trying to fit in a box of who everybody else wanted me to be.
Yes.
I had the pastoral box. I had to fit into the business leader box. I had to fit into this box. So I had no sense of individuality. I really didn't know who I was or what I really wanted out of life. All I knew is that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to be these things. And I got everything I was after and realized I'm empty.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I had Jesus. And in church, we always say, well, as long as you got Jesus, you're good. And I had Jesus. And even with Jesus, I was depressed. And then I felt bad because when I went to, church leaders and I expressed to them, hey, I'm depressed, they would tell me things like, well, you need to pray more.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I'm praying.
Like, how much more can you pray? How much more can you fast, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm fasting. I'm praying. They're like, well, you don't have enough faith. And I think that those things in the church are detrimental
Yes.
to a person's mental health. Because
Yes.
it does not, it's like, I have to tell people, hey, listen, the devil is the one that's playing with my mind. There's a chemical imbalance in my mind because there's undealt with trauma.
Mhm.
I'm not eating right. I'm not working out. This is something like when I have a stomach ache, I don't look at somebody and say, oh, you got a stomach ache, that's because you don't have enough faith. You got a stomach ache because you probably ate something you shouldn't have.
Yes.
Let's deal with the stomach ache. Let's call it what it is, and let's start to normalize the practice of understanding that mental health breakdown, depression can happen in the church. The prophet Elijah went through it. It said that he sat under a lone juniper tree after he had this great battle on top of Mount Carmel. He went through it.
Well, what one of the things one of the things that I like to tell people, I like to say, don't judge people, all right? Because you may see a man who is drinking from morning to night, and you might say, well, oh my God, he has no ambition, or he's so terrible. We would say all kinds of things about them. But the truth is, some people just keep medicating their pain because they don't know how to deal with it. So what they do, they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, and so forth. When you actually take a person who's an alcoholic or a person who's a drug addict through therapy and so forth, all right, when you take them through that, now what they start to tell you is that all is about all the trauma that they would have been faced with as a child, and they didn't know how to deal with it. Now some persons may actually say, well, well, it's a choice. Yes, it's a choice, but everybody's not as strong as you. All right, everybody will not react the way you react. All right, so that's why we have to be a little bit more lenient and understanding towards people instead of jumping to judge them so quickly. Because I remember one person saying to me, the person said, listen, you may be a religious man, all right, you may be a man of the cloth, or you may be a man at the bar, but you know what, at the end of the day, you're still a man.
No, that's true.
Yes, and so go ahead.
That's important.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that about self-medication, because people assume the person at the bar is the one that's so bad. But some people don't self-medicate with alcohol. Some people self-medicate because they go shopping. Some people self-medicate with food. Some people self-medicate in different ways. It's just that we judge people differently based upon how they choose to self-medicate their trauma.
Well, there's an age-old saying, all right? It says, judge not lest you be judged, all right? And so there's a lot of wisdom in that saying, because we don't know what people are going through, all right? So I want to know something. I mean, you have been so transparent, and I really want to applaud you for that, because, you are a very public figure. You're very well known. You have a large following on social media. You even have your own podcast. You have a thriving YouTube channel. You are a well-known person. And so I would like to applaud you, like I said, for being transparent, because you could have thought to yourself, well, I really can't be transparent because what are my followers going to think, And so I would like to know that since you have been transparent about your struggles with depression and about going to therapy and so forth, have other men reached out to you? Have other men said, you know what, Cornelius, I'm going through the same thing?
Yeah, they have. And that has been the motivation for me to continue. If people knew the type of men who have reached out, like, these are leaders of leaders. Like I've had pastors who pastor multiple campuses, and they've said, I'm glad I heard your story, because last night I attempted suicide.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's extremely deep. And then they'll say, well, I'm glad I heard your story because I went to get help and nobody would help me.
Yes. Wow.
But yeah, I've had to answer your question, I've had a lot of men to reach out. And it's been startling, the numbers. So I have a lot of men who I coach on the side, just kind of walking them through. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor.
Yes.
They go to therapy on the more in-depth things. So I go to therapy. I like to tell people my therapist, he does a great job of adding language to my pain. And what I do with the men is that I take the language that they have and I say, okay, let's strategize to walk you out of this. Well, I want to get you working out again. I want to get you eating healthier again. I want to see you do some good things over here. So the therapist gives you language. What I do is I give you a strategic plan to get to where you need to be.
All right. Well, I am so happy that we were able to have this conversation about depression. Now, how can we help men right now? Because every man may not be able to go to a therapist, but how can we help our men? Because we have to be concerned about men's mental health, because men are our husbands, they're our partners, they're our fathers, they're our brothers, they're our cousins, they're our colleagues, Men are an integral part of everything that we do. We love our men. So how can we help our men through this process?
Speak kindly to them. I know that may be a I know that may be different because we want to be so tough with how we speak to men, especially when we don't feel like they're doing the right thing. But speak kindly to them. This is how I explain it. When I'm encouraging someone, encouragement, if you look at it like this, if you were to say, okay, Chris, I'm going to encourage you, what you're doing is that you're ripping open my heart, and you're literally pouring courage inside of me. If you want to discourage me, that means you're going to rip open my heart, and you're going to pull courage out of me. So discouragement is the literal pulling courage out. Encouragement is putting courage in. So you look at a man and you say, I wish you had the courage to lead. I wish you had the courage to parent right. I wish you had the courage to be my husband. I wish you had the courage to be the pastor. I wish you had the courage to do this. Well, if we want men to have courage to speak and finally say what they have to say and be honest about it, we have to give them a non-judgmental environment where encouragement is plentiful. If not, if they live in an environment where it's just discouragement, then they won't have courage. They won't have courage to lead. So they'll get silent, and then they'll just grow old silent until they die away.
So it's very simple. So it's very simple, Cornelius. Men need encouragement. There's nothing complicated about it. And we need to watch what we're saying to our men. So one of the things that I like to tell people, I like to say, listen, if your partner or your husband, all right, if he has done something wrong, address the issue without tearing down the person.
I love that.
All right. Wow. Well, I am so happy to be speaking to you. I really hope that this is not your last time on Girl Power.
No,
and
let me know whenever you want me. I'm here.
Yes, because we need to provide, we need to help our men, and we need to be concerned about them, because I actually heard someone say this to me, Cornelius. The person said, Melissa, and this is a relative of mine, the person said, Melissa, men go through battles that sometimes, their partner may have no idea what they're going through out there. And so when they come home, they don't need to be fighting battles inside. They need to come home to a place of peace and a place of safety.
That's true. That's really true.
Wow.
And I love that. And the last thing I'll say is this.
Go right ahead.
I appreciate it on. But when women hear this, I don't want them to think, well, what about us? Because I think one of the biggest impediments to true healing in our community is the fact that we're trying to make it a battle between men and women.
And it shouldn't be.
All of this, and that women don't need anything. I'm saying that women need the same amount of encouragement that men need. I'm just saying we got to shine the light on what men need, because if we don't say it, then men are just going to be hurt, and that's not going to be well for any of us.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. It really is not a battle between the sexes. As a matter of fact, we already have, the truth is, we already have many programs in place to help women. As a matter of fact, the name of this broadcast is Girl Power, and we focus a lot on women's empowerment. All right, yeah. but I've said to myself, you know what? Even though we're focusing a lot on women's empowerment and those kind of things, we can't forget our men. We can't just allow them to fall by the wayside, all right? Because men do go through a lot of issues. Men have suffered a lot of psychological trauma sometimes in their childhood that's affecting them till now that we don't know about, all right? So, Cornelius, like I said again, thank you so much for coming on Girl Power today. I know that, I know that, well, you have lots of things to do, but I still really appreciate your time. And I'm looking forward to having you again on Girl Power, because you've written extensively about many subjects, and I really do hope that we'll be able to discuss some of those subjects as time goes by. Now, I want every man who's listening, all right, y'all just go and follow Cornelius Lindsey on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. I'm telling you, this guy is as I don't want to say raw, right? But I want to say real. He is the real deal, all right? I would not be bringing somebody here on Girl Power if they're not the real deal. He is the real deal. And, he is open, he's transparent, and he's cool, and he's down to earth, all right? And so thank you so much again, Mr. Cornelius Lindsey. Go follow him. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
on the rampage. No, no, check out radical. Down the road, check out radical. Be a bacchanal. Down the road.
All right, so thank you so much today for tuning in to Girl Power. We're going to be giving you the news at 12 o'clock, and then my good friend, Mr. Chow Pow, he's going to be on with the Frontline Show. So on behalf of myself, the host of Girl Power, Melissa Davey, thank you so much for tuning in today. Remember, don't touch that dial.
Girls are pretty, and they keep me satisfied. I need a woman by my side. Down the road, one who can make me realize. Down the road, that I should never lose my pride. Down the road, them girls are pretty, and they keep me satisfied. I need a woman by my side. Down the road, one who can make me realize. Down the road, that I should never lose my pride. Down the road, them girls are pretty, and they keep me satisfied.
You're listening to the New Generation Radio, Mad 97 FM, broadcasting from Georgetown, Guyana, in the highest quality, providing our listeners with the latest in world and Caribbean music, local culture, and